Hello, welcome to Lil's Vintage World. So this video is another one of my history book reviews where I take 3 history books and review them for you. All of them are linked to the description bar below, so if you're tempted by any, you can click the link after this video, it'll take you to the book depository. All of these books are published by the same publishing house, which is Boleyn, 2 of which I was sent for review and 1 which was just on my bookshelves anyway, but I thought I'd include it here. So the first book that I have to share with you is the book that was just kind of sat on my shelf and I just really wanted to read, and that is Mary Boleyn, The True Story of Henry VIII's Favourite Mistress by Josephine Wilkinson. So Mary Boleyn is often seen through history as either the sister of Anne Boleyn or the mistress of Henry VIII, and it's really nice to have a biography about just her as an individual, as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, etc. This, I think, is a fantastic little introductory book to Mary Boleyn. There are a few books of Mary Boleyn out there now, which is fantastic. However, the ones that I've seen are a lot bigger. This one has really nice text. It has really nice line spacing as well. It's not really grouped together, it's not small text, it's lovely. And Josephine's writing style is very clear, it's concise, it's very much to the point. It's all the information that you need to know that we have available to us about Mary Boleyn, which is very limited. But what Josephine also does is she puts in evidence that was happening around Mary at the time, so things that basically might have had an impact upon her. This, I think, is a fantastic little introductory book if you want to get into learning about Mary Boleyn for the first time. So the next book that I have to share with you is one that I was sent for review, and it is Joan of Arc and the Great Pity of the Land of France by Moya Longstaff. So this book is a 2-part biography of Joan of Arc. Part 1 looks at what was going on in France at the time, so what was going on politically, socially, religiously, etc. Things that then would later have an impact on Joan and her story. Then the main body of the book, part 2, is the biography of Joan's life. It's a full-length biography. I think this book is written so fantastically. It makes Joan of Arc feel very human, very realistic for a 21st century reader. It makes you stop and think about Joan's story and what Joan was representing. It's also really nice to have the use of primary source evidence kind of woven into the text here. We have a lot of Joan's own words too, and something that's throughout the text is her trial, and when she was being asked questions, it's Joan's replies, which is lovely to be able to read. What I think this book does brilliantly well is it's a bit of a mix. It's a mix between academic and storytelling, and it's this great fantastic writing mix where if you are more of an academic reader, you can really get on board because it does read like an academic text. However, there is this great storytelling, kind of poignant, thought-provoking theory about this book, and yeah, so if you are into perhaps an academic view of Joan of Arc's story, or if you're just into a bit of a very detailed storytelling view of Joan of Arc, pick this book up. And finally, last but oh so certainly not least, if you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, it's linked in the description bar, you'd have already seen this. It's a beautiful book. It is Painted Faces, The Colourful History of Cosmetics by Susan Stewart. So this book takes us on a journey back through time, through the centuries across the globe. We go from the ancients to the ancient Egypts, Romans and Greeks, all the way through the centuries, through the Georgians, the Victorians, right up to the First and Second World Wars. As each section progresses through time, through the centuries, we look at things like what was conventionally beautiful at the time, what were people using for time for like blusher or lipstick, for eye makeup, for foundation. For instance, did you know ancient Romans and Greeks got some crocodile poo and they smeared it all over their face to make themselves appear pale? Which makes me think 2 things. 1, they must have stank to high heavens because that's poo on your face. And 2, I didn't know crocodile poo was white, but you learn something new every day, don't you? The sections also look at things like what your hair was like, what was men and women's beauty habits. So it's not just looking at the women's beauty habits, but it looks at men's as well. And there are also some recipes from the period too. Not saying you should try them out, but it's interesting to have a good old read to see what people were putting on their face. I think this book is extremely well researched, very well written. I was completely hooked. I started off this book in the evening and I thought, right, I'll just read the introduction and the chapter on the ancients. Little did I know, a few hours later I had read the whole thing in one sitting. I was very intrigued, so addictive, it was great to learn. As for my favourite chapters, I really surprised myself actually, because I really enjoyed the chapter on the ancients, looking at the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians and all the funny things that they did to themselves. It was really fascinating to learn about, and it's one that I actually want to go and learn a bit more from as well. And then, less surprisingly, because I thought, yeah, I'm definitely going to enjoy this era, the Georgians, of course, the 18th century, where we have this ridiculous hair, don't we? Where they put the most daft things in, so they put in things like birds or boats or fruit, and I was reading it and I had this big massive grin on my face like a Cheshire cat. It was lovely reading about that. And then the Victorian era, the 19th century, because that is a time where we start to sociologically become like how we are today in the 21st century. So things like the use of magazines and sharing your beauty and hair tips like we do now on YouTube in the 21st century. So I gave this book 4.5 stars out of 5, but I can't think of a reason not to give it 5 stars. So I don't know, I might up it to 5, but keep watch of my Goodreads. So that's it for my 3 book reviews. I hope one of these books, if not all of them, have taken your fancy. As I said, they are linked in the description bar below, so if you do want to get your hands on any of them, just click the link and I'll take you to the book depository. Let's have a conversation in the comments section. Talk to me about these books. Are any of them on your wish list, or what are you currently reading right now? So that's it for this video. Take care and I shall see you soon for the next one. Bye for now.